Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel all about BA. In this session I'm going to tell you something quickly about Parquet files. Okay, it's because I have been receiving various doubts and comments regarding Parquet files from various subscribers and viewers, and even though I haven't personally worked on Parquet files, I just wanted to have a video so that it's going to be a basic session for knowing the do's and don'ts about Parquet files. Where do we use Parquet files? What is the benefit? And how do we handle it in Data Factory? That's what we're going to see in this session. Okay, before we move into the details, one thing that I wanted to tell is Parquet file is Parquet file is most wanted in Hadoop environment. Okay, if we have a Spark or Scala and then we need to store lots of data, right, Parquet is the best option, or Parquet is the default option that people go for in an Hadoop environment. Okay, so Hadoop ecosystem basically. Alright, so when coming to Data Factory, how does it work? How do we read a Parquet file? How do we write to a Parquet file? And how do we view a Parquet file? So we should be viewing the file after, assume you are going to convert a CSV file or text file to a Parquet file before it gets loaded using the Hadoop environment, or basically the clusters, maybe the Spark clusters. Okay, so you need to do such a conversion, and after you convert, you might want to look at the data or file, how it got converted. So how do we view it? That's what I'm going to tell you. Okay, whatever I have researched and whatever I have been knowing. Okay, so that's about the video. Alright, so before we go into Data Factory part, I'll just tell you a simple thing about Parquet file, how data is organized in a Parquet file in a system. Okay, when you have data stored in a Parquet file, how it is being treated by the system, or how it is being treated by the disk with respect to storage. Okay, that's what I'm going to tell you now. Assume you have a file with this structure. You have employee ID, you have name, age and salary. Okay, if we are storing our data in a form of table or XML or JSON or any other unstructured format like text or CSV or something like that, right, the data will be stored sequentially, in the sense row based storage on the disk internally. Even though we look at the data based on rows and columns, right, in a table, then internally if you go into the disk and analyze, right, it will be stored sequentially. For example, the first row will be written in the first set. Okay, 1 Natarajan 25 50,000, and second row will follow the first row. This is the second row. Similarly, third row will follow the second row. So this is going to be sequential on the disk. So in the disk, how the data is stored with respect to other files. Okay, just keep this in mind. It's going to be sequential for row based files. Okay, and if it's column based, how it is going to be stored? If it's column based, right, as the name suggests, the column data will be first written one by one. Okay, so the first column is nothing but employee ID column. So you will take all the records or all the values in that column and you will put it in one shot, and then move to the next column, put it in sequential order, and go to the third column and put all the values. Similarly, the fourth column. Okay, so why do we basically do it? What is the benefit? So if you are going to issue queries, right, basically if you are storing some data on something, we'll have to have an option to search for some data that we want, right? So while we perform search, right, for example, maybe search or various statistical or mathematical operations, right, for example, average or count or sum or min or max or whatever be it, right? So if we do such kind of operations on the data which is stored in the disk, right, then how it makes difference when it when we compare row based as well as column based. Okay, for example, look at the same example. We want to find out the average of the salary. So the last column is salary column, and we want to find the average of this column. Okay, so what we'll have to do is, the index will start from 0. It will keep on scanning. The moment it arrives at the fourth column value, it will make a note. Okay, so internally it will make 50,000. Similarly, it will keep on proceeding till it finds the second value of the salary column. So once it finds 50 lakhs, right, it will just make a note of it, and similarly it will move on to find the last value of the salary column. Okay, so if the file is simple, right, then this movement or this search pattern will work fine. Okay, assume if it's a big data, if it's going to be the file is going to be of GBs and TB size, assume how the scanning will make the entire process gets lower. Okay, so it has to go through almost all the individual pieces of data which is stored in the file or table or whatever. Okay, so this is with respect to row based searching or row based operation, or any operation with respect to a row based file storage. Okay, when it comes to column based, right, so the same example we'll take. We are going to find the average of the salary column. What we'll do is we'll go to the offset. Okay, internally there will be offsets for each column. Okay, this will be an offset for employee ID column will be 0, offset for name column will be 3, offset for the age column will be 6. Okay, similarly we'll have an offset or the place from where we'll have to look for the data for a particular column. You can relate it with that. Okay, so in our case, if we want to find the average of a particular salary column, right, we'll straight away jump on to the 9th position or 9th index. Okay, and we'll take the records from there onwards. So I'll simply take all of them and I'll put it and I'll calculate the average and we'll give it. So this is the difference between having records stored in a row based file storage and column based file storage. Okay, when we talk about Parquet files, right, internally the data is going to be stored in the columnar format. Okay, so this is how the data will be stored in the Parquet file internally. So just keep this in mind. This is for your information. Okay, all right, coming to data factory part now. So I have a data flow activity, which is going to be my simple activity. Okay, what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to convert a CSV file to a Parquet file. So what and all we have to do? It's so simple. I'm just pointing to my CSV file. Okay, if you open and look at the data, you'll understand. Debug data flow debug is being switched on. So till it comes right, I'll just show you the file itself. Okay, I have it in my demo container, and under that I have a text file which I showed you in the Excel file. Okay, it's just a simple employee file. This is how it looks like. Okay, I just want to convert the same file into a Parquet file so that I can send it to the Hadoop ecosystem for it to process the Parquet file. Okay, so this is my source file, and after I have executed my data flow, right, I will be getting the same file as test.parquet. And if you try to open this, right, in a normal system, or if you download the file and if you try to open, right, you will only see the junk characters. See here, you will be seeing various junk characters. You will not be able to understand, okay, what it actually means. So we'll have to have a Parquet viewer. Actually, we have to install something called Parquet viewer so that we can open the file that we have converted and have a look at how the data is present. Okay, so this is how it's going to become. Okay, so with respect to data flow, what and all we need to make is the source file is simple CSV file and sync is going to be my Parquet file. So if you look at this icon, right, it will represent Parquet. So how do we create it is, I'll just recreate the sync now. So just go to data flow, add a sync. In the sync, we'll have to choose a data set, right? So we can create a new data set by choosing the Parquet format. Okay, so once you have chosen, choose the link service and then choose a place where you have to place the converted file into. So I'll choose demo container in 2021 folder. I'll say OK. I'm not giving any file name here. I'm not giving any schema here. So I'll say OK. And then I'll go to settings and I'll output to a single file so that I can give a name for my Parquet file. Okay, test run.parquet. I'll set a single partition. So that's all. So this is how the data flow looks like. So once the debug comes up and I execute the pipeline, right, it's going to convert my CSV file to a Parquet file. Okay, let it come. But before that, I'll just show you how to view a Parquet file. All right. So I have something called Apache Parquet Viewer. It's an open source software which I have downloaded. So once you have it, right, you can open any Parquet file here. You can drag and drop, or you can simply open from your desk. So this is how it's going to be showing. Just a high level details of how the records are organized in a Parquet file. Okay. Similarly, you can find various softwares for opening the Parquet file. So just download the appropriate file. so that you will have some details about the data being written to the Parquet file. So why I just wanted to have this video is, it can be a kickstart video for those who want to try with Parquet files. Okay, so just like how we are writing to a sync, right, we can also read a Parquet file from data flow. Okay, so I'm just clicking on the source. I'm just choosing any Parquet file here. I'll just point to the same place where we have recently written test.parquet. Okay, so I'll just preview the data. See here how beautifully it's coming. So it's the same way how we work with CSV file and text files. Okay, just that you will have to choose the option Parquet while you create the data set itself. Okay, so that's all I had for this session. If you have any questions, or if you have any work experience with Parquet, and if you have come across any difficulties, one difficulty that one of my friends has told me is converting the data type. Okay, while we write data to a Parquet file, right, we'll have to conform to the data types, because decimals have to be in decimal format, and it should not be in a string format. So we shouldn't be doing any manipulation with respect to data type. Okay, so we'll just have to take care of that. So I'll post one more video for converting or doing typecasting from a text file to a Parquet file, so that it can be helpful for you. Let me know if you have come across any situation like this also. Okay, so that it will be helpful for plenty. Okay, thanks a lot for watching. Keep supporting.